Stop explaining yourself to worthless people. Machiavelli's advice to modern men. There's something they don't want you to know. Something so simple yet so dangerous that it could change your entire existence. For centuries, the powerful have hidden this truth from the masses. They've made you believe that explaining yourself is noble, that justifying your actions shows character. But Machiavelli knew better. Every word you speak in defense of yourself is a weapon you hand to your enemies. Every justification you offer is permission for others to judge you. You've been taught to seek understanding, to make people comfortable with your choices. This is the great lie that keeps you weak. The truth? You owe no one an explanation for your ambition, your decisions, or your life. Not your family who questions your choices. Not your friends who doubt your vision. Not the strangers who think they know better. To explain is to beg. To justify is to surrender your power. Look around you. The men who rule this world don't spend their time explaining themselves to those beneath them. They act. They decide. They move forward while others are still debating their worth. This is what Machiavelli understood, that most never will. Chapter 1. The disease of constant explanation. You're sick, infected with a disease that's been eating away at your power since childhood. The disease of needing to be understood by people who will never understand you. People who are fundamentally incapable of seeing your vision because they lack the capacity to think beyond their own small world. When you explain your ambition to someone content with mediocrity, they don't hear passion. They hear judgment on their own lack of it. When you justify a difficult decision to your family, they don't see strategy. They see disruption to their comfort. When you share your complex vision with simple minds, they don't see genius. They see threat. This is why your words fall on deaf ears. Not because you're not speaking clearly, but because they're not listening to understand. They're listening to find flaws. They're filtering your words through their own fears, insecurities, and envy. Most people are spectators in the arena of life. They sit in the cheap seats, commenting on moves they could never make themselves. Their opinions cost them nothing and offer you nothing in return. Their criticism comes from ignorance and serves only to protect their fragile worldview. You're playing chess while they're playing checkers. Yet you exhaust yourself trying to explain the rules of your game to people who can only think one move ahead. Stop. Your energy is finite. Every moment spent converting skeptics is a moment not spent building your empire. The lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep, not because he's arrogant, but because their opinions are irrelevant to the reality of power. You are a creator, a strategist, a force of nature. Your language is action, results, victory. Let the worthless chatter while you build. Chapter 2. Silence, your most dangerous weapon. The modern world has made you afraid of silence. They've branded it as awkwardness, ignorance, weakness. This is deliberate programming designed to keep you talking, explaining, revealing your strategies to those who would use them against you. Silence is not emptiness, it's pressure. When someone challenges you, your trained response is to fill the void with words. You babble, defend, over-explain. In that moment, you surrender the dominant position. You become the defendant pleading your case before a judge who's already decided your fate. Now imagine this. Someone attacks your decision. You look them in the eye. You say nothing. You let the silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable. What happens? The entire dynamic flips. Your silence becomes a black hole that sucks in their certainty. They start questioning their own attack. Did I go too far? Does he know something I don't? Why isn't he reacting? Is he amused by my pathetic attempt to rattle him? Suddenly, they're the ones feeling uncomfortable. They rush to fill the silence themselves, often revealing their true motives, their weaknesses, their desperation. Your silence projects unshakable confidence. It says you're so secure in your position that lesser opinions aren't worth a verbal response. It creates mystery. Men who are easily read are easily controlled. A man who can't be baited, who keeps his own counsel, becomes an enigma. People project their fears and hopes onto him. This makes him appear larger than life. Use silence as interrogation. Use it as a shield against insult. Use it as the deafening prelude to your decisive action. While they're talking, you're observing, planning, positioning for the kill. Let them have the words. You keep the power. Chapter 3. How they use your words against you. You must understand something brutal about human nature. You're surrounded by vultures. They wear the faces of friends, colleagues, family. But in the social hierarchy, their function is often predatory. The flesh they feast on, your explanations. Every justification you offer is ammunition you hand to your enemies. When you explain why you're taking a risk, you're giving them a detailed map of your fears and insecurities. You're saying, here's where I'm uncertain. Here's where I need reassurance. This information gets stored, catalogued, weaponized. When you're at your weakest moment, they'll throw your own past doubts back at you, disguised as friendly concern. Your explanations become admissions of guilt in a court where you're always on trial. By engaging in the debate, you legitimize their right to judge you. If someone accuses you of being too ambitious and you respond with a lengthy defense of your work ethic, you've accepted their premise that ambition requires defense. The powerful man doesn't defend his ambition. He simply acts on it. The outcome is his only vindication. Your explanations give them material to misrepresent you. You might offer 10 solid reasons for a decision. The vulture will pick the one half sentence that, taken out of context, makes you look foolish or cruel. They'll twist your logic, simplify your reasoning, broadcast their distorted version to the world. You gave them the very words they use to destroy your character. Stop arming your executioners. Give them nothing. Give them silence. Give them results. Let them starve for lack of material. Your life, your decisions, your motives are classified information. They don't have clearance to access it. Chapter 4. Building your inner kingdom. This isn't just about external tactics. It's about internal revolution. For most of your life, you've been a beggar, panhandling for scraps of approval from everyone you meet. You've measured your worth by distorted reflections in other people's eyes. This is the source of your weakness. The desperate urge to explain yourself is a symptom of a hollow core. You must now forge an iron will. This means building a new source of validation that's entirely internal. Your opinion of yourself must become the only opinion that matters. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. Define your own code, values, mission with such clarity that it becomes your North Star. When you have this internal compass, the winds of public opinion can howl and rage, but they can't change your direction. You must become your own judge, jury, highest authority. This requires ruthless self-assessment. Know your strengths, but more importantly, know your weaknesses and actively work to strengthen them. Not for others, but for yourself. Become the primary source of your own encouragement and your harshest, most constructive critic. When you achieve this internal sovereignty, the need to explain yourself simply dies. Why would a king explain his decree to a peasant? Not from contempt, but from simple reality of hierarchy. The king's authority is inherent, not granted by popular vote. Your authority over your own life must be just as absolute. The world will test you. It will send agents to probe for the old weakness, the craving for approval. You must starve that beast until it's dead. Your will must be forged in the fires of solitude and self-reliance until it becomes unbreakable. Only then will you be truly free. Chapter 5. When to speak, when to act. Don't mistake this for a vow of absolute silence. The Machiavellian path isn't for the mute or passive. It's about the economy of language and supremacy of action. The error isn't in speaking. The error is in explaining. There's a vast difference between pathetic justification and calculated declaration. Justification is reactive, defensive, seeks approval. Declaration is proactive, offensive, signals intent. It doesn't ask permission. It announces coming reality. I'm quitting my job to start a company because I believe I have a better vision is weak explanation. It invites debate and doubt. I'm building a new company. We launch in 6 months is declaration. Statement of fact. The conversation becomes about that new reality, not your feelings about it. Your words should serve your actions, not the other way around. Use language to shape the battlefield before battle begins. Use it to issue commands, define terms, plant ideas, misdirect enemies. But once action begins, let action do the talking. Your results are the only argument that can never be refuted. While others debate the theoretical possibility of your success, you must be busy making it empirical fact. While they critique your methods, you must be enjoying the spoils of victory. The world divides into 2 types, talkers and doers. Talkers write history books, but doers make history. Talkers explain why things failed. Doers create things that succeed. You must be a doer. Let your legacy be a towering monument of achievements, not a footnote of well-intentioned excuses. Act with such overwhelming force and precision that any subsequent explanation becomes laughably unnecessary. Your deeds are your only required explanation. Chapter 6. Your inner circle versus the mob. A prince who explains nothing to no one isn't a strategist. He's a tyrant who will soon be isolated and overthrown. The art lies in understanding the hierarchy of communication. You owe the mob, critics, worthless people, nothing. But you owe your inner circle clarity. These are the men and women essential to executing your vision. Their understanding isn't about validating your ego. It's operational necessity. To withhold information from them is to sabotage your own success. But even here, the communication is different. You're not justifying decisions. You're briefing them on their role in execution. The conversation with the lieutenant isn't, "Do you think this is a good idea?" It's, "This is the plan. Here's the objective. Here's your specific role. Here are your resources. What do you need from me to guarantee success?" You're providing context, not seeking consensus. This selective explanation builds immense loyalty. It turns key people from mere employees into co-conspirators. It signals you trust their competence and value their role. You bring them inside the fortress walls while the rest of the world remains outside, guessing. This creates powerful in-group dynamics that bind your team with steel. Learn to identify these key people. They're the ones whose questions aren't veiled criticisms, but genuine attempts to understand the mission better. They think in terms of solutions, not problems. To these few, you grant the privilege of clear directive. To the rest of the world, you present a united, impenetrable front. Know the difference between your allies and the audience. Feed your allies information. Feed the audience mystery. Chapter 7. The power of being misunderstood. One of the deepest fears driving the need to explain is the fear of being misunderstood. You want people to see your good intentions, appreciate your noble heart. This is a fatal flaw. Machiavelli taught that it's often safer to be feared than loved. Love is fickle and depends on others' whims. Fear is constant and depends only on your perceived power. You must not only accept being misunderstood, you must welcome it as strategic advantage. When people can't clearly define you, they fear you. When your motives are opaque, they assume the worst, and in doing so, they hesitate to act against you. Infamy can be more powerful than good reputation. Good reputation invites challenges from those who wish to tarnish it. Infamy makes them think twice before entering the ring. Let them whisper. Let them gossip. Let them spin fantastic theories about your motives and methods. Their speculation is testament to your power. It means you occupy real estate in their minds, rent-free. While they're distracted by the shadow you cast, you're free to move and act in the light. A man who's perfectly understood is perfectly predictable. A predictable man is vulnerable. By refusing to explain yourself, you remain unpredictable. You become a force of nature, an event to be reacted to, not an equation to be solved. Let go of the childish need to be the hero in everyone's story. Be the force that shapes your own. If that makes you the villain in theirs, so be it. Their story is irrelevant. The only narrative that matters is the one you're writing with your actions. Your reputation among those who matter is built through results, not explanations. Chapter 8. Living the Code Daily. This philosophy must now become your operating system, your new code, your default response. Let's arm you with practical applications. When family questions your career change with, "Are you sure that's wise? What about security?" The old you would launch into a presentation about market trends and personal fulfillment. The new you looks them in the eye, smiles slightly, says, "It's handled," and changes the subject. When a colleague points out a supposed flaw in your project with, "I'm not sure this will work," the old you would defensively detail every contingency plan. The new you nods and says, "I appreciate your perspective," then proceeds exactly as planned. When a rival attempts to bait you in a meeting with, "Can you explain why your numbers are so aggressive?" you don't take the bait. You don't justify the numbers. You hold their gaze and state, "They're not aggressive. They're the new standard." Learn to deliver these short, sharp, frame-setting statements that close doors, not open them for debate. This is practice. It will feel uncomfortable at first. The addict always feels withdrawal pangs. Your addiction is to approval. You'll feel the urge to rush in, smooth things over, make them understand. You must resist this urge with every fiber of your being. Each time you successfully refuse to explain yourself, your internal sovereign grows stronger. Each time you let actions speak for you, your power becomes more real. This is your training. The world is your practice ground. Start today. Start with the next person who questions your choice. Start with the next family member who doubts your path. Start with the next colleague who challenges your methods. Give them nothing but results. Give them nothing but silence. Give them nothing but the unshakable certainty that you know exactly what you're doing. You now stand at a crossroads. Behind you lies the worn path of sheep. Endless explanation, justification, begging for acceptance from a world that respects none of it. Ahead lies the path of the sovereign, walked by the few who understand the mechanics of real power. This path requires the dual nature Machiavelli described, the strength of the lion and cunning of the fox. You must have the lion's strength to act decisively, pursue ambition without apology, withstand criticism from the herd. You must be willing to be a force of raw, uncompromising action. But you must also have the fox's cunning to recognize traps, understand others' motivations, know when silence is greater than any roar. The fox knows that explaining himself to the hounds only tells them which way he intends to run. Your life is the ultimate creative act. Don't mar its canvas with graffiti of other people's opinions. Your legacy won't be found in transcripts of arguments or footnotes of excuses. It will be carved in stone of achievements. It will be measured by empires built, challenges conquered, standards set. Stop explaining yourself to worthless people. Stop casting pearls before swine. Save your breath, energy, focus for what truly matters. Relentless, uncompromising execution of your will. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them fear you. Let them talk. While they're talking, you'll be winning. Your deeds are your only necessary explanation. The powerful don't explain. They demonstrate. They don't justify. They dominate. They don't seek understanding. They command respect. Now go. Write your epic in the language of action. Let your silence speak louder than their noise. Let your results answer every question they dare to ask. The age of explanation is over. The age of execution begins now.